Hey there, viewers, it's Charlie, I'm back again, and well, if you remember my previous review, the 2007 Leader Optimus Prime figure, that was a pretty big figure, eh? Well, today's review is going to be a figure that's, well, the same size, if not bigger than him. Today, I'm going to review Robots in Disguise Ultra Magnus. Now, once again, this is a beautiful vehicle mode. Although right off the bat, you can see this copy is yellowing. That was not my doing. That's how I got it. The seller said that this is when my tongue stops working. The seller said that they'd left us in the sunlight for who knows how long. I mean, why? Living in the sunlight just exposes it to yellowing like this. That's why, like, whenever the sun is shining on my collection, I try and close the curtains just to avoid that. But well, aside from the fact that someone spilled orange juice on them, pretty much, this figure is still amazing. So, as we can see, Ultra Magnus here is a car carrier, just like he's always been. And the cat part, aside from this part, it looks pretty similar to his G1 counterpart. It's white, it's a short-nosed truck, although the actual grille is much different. It's blue, and it has an Autobot insignia on it. So having a 360 look at Magnus, well, we can see an Autobot insignia here. The tires actually say, if I can roll this one, the tires actually say Transformers and Cybertron, because that was the Japanese name for the Autobot, Cybertron. I mean, that's hilarious. I mean, back has got a gap to fit the car in. Here we have the back bit. The other side, and this side's not as bad when it comes to yellowing. The top, which shows a speaker, which I'll show in robot mode, the sounds. And well, we have some railing here to support some Autobot cars. And the underneath, once again, Kibble City. I mean, we have the hands. We have the chest plate. So, yeah. Normally, that would be it for the vehicle mode, although, of course, Ultra Magnus being a car carrier, of course, he can carry cars. And thankfully, I do have Prowl, if you remember his review. If I had X-Born on the sideburn, I'd also load him with those two, but, yeah. But Prowl can fit on the top here, or what you can do is, if you can, try and unhook that, and Prowl can, well, if you can, because the tire's catching on my one, so I'll just try and sort that. There we go. Prowl can roll up into here, and you can, if you can, close that back up, if you can even do it. Yeah, I can't, but, well, you can see, yeah, you can fit any of the Autobot brothers in here. And closing up the doors, that's pretty much it for Ultra Magnus' vehicle mode. And before I get to this transformation, I do have one complaint. These things can often fall through the pegs pretty easily, especially when you're trying to open the doors, and that can get pretty irritating. Now, one thing I forgot to show is his gun. And oh my god, this gun. Well, this thing's pretty big. And you actually can plop it on the vehicle mode, as I will try and show. although it can be a little bit tricky at times. As well, it's hard to know. It's hard to know which way everything goes at times, and that could be another complaint. His weapon can be quite confusing at times, as you just never know which way it's actually supposed to rotate. Well, even though I can't show it right now because I don't really understand, his gun can peg onto the vehicle mode, something similar to this. Yeah, as you can see, this gun actually has square pegs and round pegs, and we'll get into that in robot mode, let's get into this right now. Now, true to the original Ultra Magnus, the cab and the actual trailer part are separate sections, but unlike with the other Ultra Magnus, well, this guy doesn't have a smaller robot mode. Well, I'll show you. So first, take the actual little railing bit and move that up like so. Come into here and untab the sides. Excuse my hairy arm. I know it's disgusting. But after you untab these sections, that allows you to remove the cab, which I'll get to soon. And well, unlike with G1 Ultra Magnus, which had power armor, the trailer actually forms a part of his body instead of just power armor. So, untabbing that, if you can. There we go, I just wasn't doing it correctly. So, untabbing that, what you do is, and have what was the little ramp, turn that around, untap that, and you are supposed to flip that around, but I don't because it looks a bit stupid. Turn the actual, well, this bit around, like so, plug that in, and then pull that up like so, and move that down. And flip that up, and that's one leg done. As you can see, it's already pretty tall. So, second verse, same as the first. Untab, if you can. Move that down. Twist that around. Move that down. Unpeg. Flip around. And then fill out the joints. And now you've got yourself some legs. We'll use those pretty soon. And now for the actual cab section. As you can see, it's got fish showing in the back. And, well, it actually has this red button. I might as well just show you the lights and sounds right now, because this sound effect is actually pretty appropriate. Pressing that red button, he says this. He says, Ultra Magnus, transform. Ultra Magnus, transform. And that's pretty appropriate, because we're about to transform this guy into his robot mode, so... Ultra Magnus, transform. Now, this is the hard part of the transformation. Trying to get this out the way so you can flip it around. It's easier to lift one up, and then turn around the other, if you can, like so. I mean, I can't do that right now, but just to allow you to lift all this up, and then if you can, oh, up close. There you go. Supposed to allow you to push all that around and clip these together, like so. Now untab the actual grill, or the underneath part, and then just accordion that up and push that together. Come in here and fold these out if you can. There we go, on ratchet joints. Now come in here, move that down. Come here, on top of the back wheels, or well, of course these are the arms. On top of the back wheels, like so. Set them around 180 degrees. Oh. Apologies, folks. Someone walked in, but, well, to continue, as I was saying, flip around the hands, come in here, straighten that out, twist that bit around, and if you can, well, forgot a step, come in here, flip these blue bits around, and they can pop off, as this one's done with me a couple of times. I'm surprised it stayed on that time. And then turn around Ultra Magnus' head, and that's pretty much him in his robot mode, sans legs. So, if you'll just excuse me. Here we actually have Ultra Magnus' legs. Now, getting the actual figure, we can just drop him on. And while raising the camera once again, here we have Ultra Magnus in his robot mode. Oh my god, this guy is tall. Like, this guy is really tall. I mean, like, he's not the tallest in my collection. That would go to Energon Omega Supreme and Cybertron Starscream, but he's still taller than Optimus Prime from my previous review. Now, turning him around, we can see the jetpack, and he still has the sound effect. Even though we've already got him into his robot mode. And yes, as I said earlier, he has yellowed. But like, look how tall his legs are. Keep in mind, these are formed from the actual car carrier section. The torso and arms are formed from the cab. And well, that's just... oh my god. I mean, this guy is pretty much... I mean, I just don't know what to say. He's so tall. I'm using 3 Commander Series boxes to stand my camera right now. He's that bloody tall. And I had a coughing fit right after I said that, but... let's have a look at Magnus' head. And as we can see, well... it does look a little bit different from other Ultra Magnuses. Because, well, sure he has horns, but they're pretty small. I mean, if you go back and look at G1 Magnus, his head had huge white, his head had huge white antenna, like taller than his actual head. Whereas of RID Ultra Magnus, they're just small and blue, and they're just as tall as his head is. Not to mention, he has an Autobot insignia right on his forehead. Something that Bumblebee from the movies would do later on. Now, his head is on a ball joint, as we'll show in the articulation soon. And some of his wheels are popping off. So, yeah. Now, coming in for articulation. Head. Well, it's on a ball joint, so it can turn around. He can look up. Can't really move down that far, though. His arms, oh, they can go out, so he can T-pose, which is awesome. Oh, and that's the complaint. Thanks to age, his legs are actually quite loose. But if you can get him standing, he can T-pose. Got elbows because they're on ball joints, and they can swivel. Has got wrist joints, but well, as you can see, because they're on ball joints. He does have finger and thumb articulation. Nothing at the waist. His legs can move up. Thanks to these joints, he can do the split, although, because he's quite a heavy figure, I'll just show one leg. And technically, thanks to the joint, he's got knees, but nothing at the feet. So yeah. Now, his gun, it can integrate into his robot mode, although, seeing how it's so big, I'm sadly not going to show that in this video. Sorry, but you can flip this up. Try and move these square bits, so you can have either, if I can get this working, either a Gatling gun, or this little cannon. And what it would do is, it would plug into these little holes here, and could hold it via his arm, and it would make these sounds. What I'll do is, I'll just hold on to the button to show you. So the circle one, that would be the cannon. Hold on. Oh. If you were to push on, oh. Excuse me, folks, I have a visitor. Apologies for all the interruptions, people. It's because I was selling something on Facebook and someone had bought it and they were just collecting it, so. But as I was saying, instead of showing the gun plugging in, because that can be a bit of a hassle, and there's other people who have shown that, for example, P.O.G. What I'll do is I'll just press the button and I'll show you what the sounds are. So the circle button, if you push onto that and you push onto the Ultra Magnus transform button, it does that noise. And for the button with the square pegs, if Ultra Magnus will stand for me, and keep in mind the square pegs was the Gatling gun that he actually used on the Autobot Brothers in his introduction episode. You push that in, it makes this sound. Yeah, that's Gatling gun noise. I believe there's also another noise for holding onto them together. So this, I'll do this off camera so it doesn't look like I'm being inappropriate with them. But if I can try and push these two together. Yep, as you can hear. He says fire and just shoots them both pretty much. If he was actually holding it. So he does make a noise if you hold them both together. But yeah, that's pretty much Ultra Magnus. I mean, complaints, I do have a few. One, of course, is heavily susceptible to yellowing. Which, well, I mean, any figure is if you leave it in sunlight. I mean, if you have hydrogen peroxide, then that's not going to be an issue. But another issue is, well, his legs can be a bit loose. Because remember, I was struggling to stand him a few minutes ago. And, well, his overall size, I mean, granted it's cool, but I sort of wish there was a way to, like, compress the legs down a little bit if you could just fold them down, because keep in mind, I'm using 3 commemorative series boxes to stand my camera so we can see him. Plus, the transformation can be a bit fiddly at times. If anything, probably a bit more than Movie Optimus. Because with Movie Optimus, the day I got him, I could do it like, within a minute or so. But with this guy, the wings can be a bit of a pain to try and push around. So, yeah. But other than that, this guy is awesome. But to get the full effect, I recommend also getting Optimus Prime if you can find them. RID Optimus Prime, that is. Because these two can combine into Omega Prime. Why they call them Omega Prime, I'll have no idea. I mean, I know it's because Prime's the one controlling it, but why not Ultra Prime or Optimus Magnus? Or hell, Omega Supreme, as I've called my version of Omega Prime. Well, Omega Supreme is my fan name for Omega Prime. But yeah, if you want the full effect, not only get Ultra Magnus, but also get Optimus Prime. Just so you can recreate Omega Prime. But yeah, aside from that, with or without Prime, I do recommend this guy. He's cool looking, his vehicle mode looks awesome, transformation, while fiddly, is still fun to do. And well, as I said, if you have Optimus, you can do Omega Prime. So, this has been my review on RID Ultra Magnus. And this is Charlie Young, signing off.